If you are visiting our channel for the first time, please subscribe first to get the latest updates. Hello everyone. Today we are going to have a lecture on the domain and range of different kind of functions, that how you can find the domain and range quickly if you are given with a certain function. We will see the different kind of function and how you can find the domain and range using some conditions, and at some places we don't need any condition. So first of all, we have a simple function. Now, what is the example of the simple function? A simple function looks like f of x is equals to x square. If you are given with such a function and you will be asked to find the domain and range quickly, what condition, you have to do in such a case? If you either you need to check any condition, or you have to apply any formula, or what you have to do, the analysis or not, or what. Let's see. First of all, we don't need any condition for simple function, as in this function we don't have any radical sign, or we don't have any other function like any log. It is neither in the form of log nor in the form of exponent. It's a simple function involving the variable having a square. So there is no condition required for the functions like this that are simple without any radical sign. Now, how you can find their domain? Domain is basically the value of x that this function can take. Now, what value of x this function can take? This function can take any value of x, as in the function there is no restriction, as the function is simple, and the domain will be set of all real numbers. Okay, so now this is the domain. Now what will be the range? Now here on range there is a restriction. What? We have a function that is square. As square means that even if we take the negative, as real numbers includes positive and negative both values. So when we put the negative values of x in the function, it will become positive. How? Because it's a square function. So in such a case, we will never get the value of a function that will be negative. So in the square function, the range will always be positive. So we can say that the range will be set of all non-negative real numbers. The use of word non-negative is to emphasize that we will not include any negative values in it. Set of all non-negative real numbers. So this is how we can find the domain and range quickly of the simple function. Now if you came across the functions like having the radical in the numerator, that is f of x is equals to under root x plus 2. Now quickly what you have to do? You have to quickly apply a condition. That is, you have to apply a condition, that is x plus 2, that is the expression in the radical should be greater than and equal to 0. Why? Because the domain and range should be real number, and when we use the values that is value that is less than 0, in the under root we will get the imaginary number. So whenever you came across the radical expression, you have to write the expression under the radical and equate it with greater than and equal to 0. So it means x should be greater than and equal to minus 2. So this condition is required in the functions like having radicals in the numerator. So what will be the domain? Domain means the values of x. So in condition we have restrict the value of x to greater than and equal to minus 2. So domain will be equals to like this, minus 2 to infinity. It means we cannot take the value of x less than minus 2, because if we take the values of x less than minus 2, it will become negative in the under root, and any value in the under root with the negative sign will give you with the imaginary values. And the domain and range should be the positive values. Should be the real numbers. No imaginary numbers are allowed. So d is equals to minus 2 to infinity. I have used the square bracket with minus 2. That means minus 2 will also be included in the domain. Then we move towards the range. What will be the range? In the radical expressions, if we start putting the value from minus, as the least value, the minimum value that we can put in x will be minus 2. So we will start putting minus 2 in the in f of x equals to under root x plus 2. We will get 0. Then we will put minus 1, then 0, then 1, 2, 3. It means whenever we put the least value of x, that is allowed minus 2, we will get 0. And we cannot get any negative answer in f of x, due to which the range will be from 0 to infinity. Now I have used a square bracket with the 0, because 0 will also be included in the range, because at minus 2 the value of f of x will be 0. So this is the range of the functions in having the radical in the numerator. Now the next function type is if we have variable in the denominator, that is if you have the expression like this, x plus 2 divided by x minus 3, then how you will be able to solve such functions? You can solve such functions by applying a condition, that is x minus 3 should not be equal to 0. So the condition is x minus 3 should not be equal to 0. As anything in the denominator is 0, then the function will become undefined. So this condition is required whenever you came across the expression in the denominator. X should not be equals to 3. So whenever x is equals to 3, we will get 3 minus 3 equals to 0 in the denominator. That will become undefined. So this is the condition whenever you came across the expression with denominator. Now what will be the domain? Domain is basically the values of x that are allowed to use. So other than 3, we can use all the values of x, as on all other values are allowed and they will not make the denominator 0. So the domain will be minus infinity to 3 union 3 to plus infinity. So this will be the domain. As I have used the parenthesis with the 3, it means 3 will not be included in the domain and the rest of all values will be included, or you can say the set of all real numbers except 3. Okay, then what will be the range? Range will be the set of all real numbers, as there is no restriction on range, because whatever we put the value of x, we will get both negative as well as positive values. While right, the range will be equals to minus infinity to plus infinity, or you can say set of all real numbers. Now if we came across the function that is log function, if you are having a function involving the function of log, like the example is f of x is equals to log of, with the base 4, log 4, as there is no space, I'll write log 4 2x minus 3. And how you will be able to find its domain and range? Now there is a condition that is required in the log as well. The condition is the value of log can never be negative. So it is required that the value that we will evaluate should be greater than 0. So I have to do what? I have to put the condition on this 2x minus 3, as 2x minus 3 should be greater than 0. As log of negative numbers will be imaginary number, so we cannot find the domain and range. So we have to take the positive, we have to take the real numbers. For that purpose, 2x should be greater than 3. So that means x should be greater than 3 by 2. X should be greater than 3 by 2. So this is the condition that is required. Whatever we will get in the bracket of log, we have to compute it with greater than 0 so that we can have the positive values. Now what will be the domain? In such a case, the domain will be greater than 3 by 2. So I'll write domain is equals to 3 by 2 to infinity. Now I have used the parenthesis with 3 by 2. It means 3 by 2 will not be included, as by putting 3 by 2 we will get a number that is imaginary. So 3 by 2 will not be included. What will be the range? Now the range will be the set of all real numbers. There is no restriction in the range of this function, as we can put as by putting the value 3 by 2 to infinity, we can get set of all real numbers. As we get the result, or as after finding the log, we can get the positive as well as the negative values, and there is no restriction over that. Now we move towards the next function, that is the exponential function. How you can find the domain and range of exponential function? Let's see. Now exponential function is of different forms, like f of x is equals to e raised to power x with the base e, or the function f of x equals to 1 by 4 raised to power 2x with the constant in the base, or f of x is equals to 9 raised to power x minus 4. So these are the different types of the exponential functions. How you will be able to find their domain and range? Now keep this in mind that there is no condition required for such functions. As we have seen in our previous few functions that there is a condition required for them. So there is no specific condition required for the exponential functions. So how you can find the domain in such case? So in such case, it is clear that the power of the base could be any, that is e raised to power x, 1 by 4 raised to power 2x, 9 raised to power x minus 4. So it doesn't matter that what will be the value of x. So we can say that the domain will be the set of all real numbers in all the three cases. So set of all real numbers in all the three cases. So in all these three cases have the same domain, that is set of all real numbers, as there is no restriction on the value of x. But in case of the range, we have a restriction of the value of the function. How? Because if we put any value of x, that is positive or negative, we will get only the positive value of x, except that there is something adding or subtracting from the given function. So in case of e raised to power x, we have the range of 0 to infinity, as whatever we put in the power, we will get the output that will be positive. So that means that the range will always be from 0 to infinity. Same is the case in case of f of x equals to 1 by 4 raised to power 2x, where the range will be again 0 to infinity, as there is not any addition or subtraction from the given function. But in case of f of x equals to 9 raised to power x minus 4, how you can find the range? As the function is shifted by 4 units, so we can say that the domain will be minus 4 to infinity. This is because of the reason that there is something subtracting from minus 4. If we take any value of x, that will be subtracted from 4. It means instead of 0 to infinity, this function is having a range from minus 4 to infinity. Okay, so this you will have a clear idea if you plot this function. We will also discuss in our next lecture that how you can find the domain and range by using the graph. So currently you need to know that if there is something adding or subtracting from the exponential function, then that function will be shifted by that units towards the negative side. That's why we have the range of minus 4 to infinity. Now in case of radical functions with different index, how you can find the domain and range? For example, if you are given with the function f of x is equals to 2x plus 9 and the index is 4, or you will be asked to find the domain and range with the index that is odd, 9x plus 4. Now there is a restriction on such condition. There is a condition that will be applicable on such functions. So in such a case, you have to first determine the radical, whether the radical is even or odd. So if the radical is odd, then what? Domain will be all real numbers. We need not to do anything here. Just you need to check whether the index is odd or even. Or in case the index is even, as in this case the index is odd and in this case the index is even, then you have to do what? You have to apply a condition. If even, the condition that is required is you have to check that the expression under the radical sign, it should be greater than or equal to 0. So in this case we have 2x plus 9, that should be greater than or equal to 0. So this is the condition required if the radical is even. Here it is 4. So in such a case, what will be the domain? The domain will be, let's solve it to solve 2x plus 9. 2x plus 9 greater than or equal to 0. It means 2x should be greater than or equal to minus 9 and x should be greater than or equal to minus 9 by 2. So the domain in this case will be, I'll write d is equals to minus 9 by 2 to plus infinity. Okay, as I have solved the expression and we have got x should be greater than or equal to minus 9 by 2. So it is like that, minus 9 by 2 to plus infinity, and we have used the square bracket with minus 9 by 2 because it will also be included. Now what will be the range? Range will be, in such a case, will always be from 0 to infinity, and the 0 will also be included. In both the cases it will be 0 to infinity. Why? Because in the case of the roots, we cannot have the output, we cannot have the value that is less than 0, that is negative, and we will always get the positive value. So we will get if we put the values from minus 9 by 2 to infinity, we will always get the answers from 0 to infinity. So that's all from some basic functions, how you can find the domain and range of some basic functions quickly. So in our next lecture, we will discuss the more different functions. Thank you. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe our channel math.com for more updates. Thank you.